back again. So I'm here at the Canadian Aviation and Space Museum in Ottawa to check out the cool planes and everything there is to see. I can't wait for you guys to see it all. Let's have a look inside. All right, so we're just getting in right now. And as soon as you walk through the door, you get to see all these cool planes. And it's a big room full of planes. I've never been here before, but I'm looking forward to seeing everything. It looks pretty cool. The museum was established in 1964 and it's the biggest aviation museum in Canada. And you can see that with the amount of planes that are in here. Look at this, so old school. This reminds me of like these old school films. There's a movie called Saving Private Ryan and they had a plane like that. It's one of those war movies, but it looks super cool. I'm gonna walk through this with you guys and you can see some information about the plane and the history. And this one was part of the First World War and it was a fighter plane. It has the wooden shaft and those old school wings. Look at that. So the museum focuses on aviation history and space exploration. So we'll get to see everything all over the place. There's planes across the floors and they're really trying to show us everything that there is to see about the history of aviation in Canada. This model is super old. It looks like it's even peeling off. It reminds you of one of those Air Transat planes that looks all patched up, that scares you to death and you're not even sure if you're gonna make it or not. I used to take those planes to the Caribbeans. It used to be super scary. And this brings back that vibe. Look at this. The museum houses a diverse collection of over 130 planes, and here's one of the cool ones. Guys, look at the size of this tire. It's humongous. And right here you have one of the engines. And I believe these engines were made by Ford. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it's my best guess because around that time it was Ford Motors that was creating all of the engines for planes to go to war. Guys, let me know if you like this. Leave a comment below. Right there we have one of the first planes that was ever created, and below that is another model. And you can see when these inventions began, it wasn't the best tech available, but it's definitely modern now. But back then a lot of things were made out of wood. Look at that. Here we have a paraglider, and that's how soldiers were landing on the ground during a mission and during the war. It looks pretty cool. I don't think it's the safest thing, but that's how they used to do it back then, before all these safety regulations kicked in. And guys, look at this. This is one of the first planes that were made. It looks so simple and ghetto. There's no safety measures, nothing, no mechanism, no airbags. Just imagine that, you know, if you're the first person to go on this plane and fly for the first time in history, how would you feel? How would you respond? Would you be scared? Let me know in the comments, because I don't know if I would have the courage to jump on this plane and go somewhere for the first time. The museum offers different exhibits and interactive experiences where you can get up and close to the planes like I'm doing right now to have a closer look at the engine and how it's made. The museum really dives deep into the history of aviation and shows us various artifacts showing the progress of aviation technology. Look at this, guys. Have you ever gotten this close to a fighter plane? I don't think so, but let me know in the comments if you have. This looks pretty cool. Look at this. And right there is where you would have the soldiers, or pilots I should call them, sitting in the back, getting ready to shoot some ammunitions at the enemy. From what I've been told, this right here is a plane that belonged to the German army around the time Hitler was around, and some of them were captured in Russia and other parts of Germany, and you can see how rough it looks. They've definitely been shot at and brought down somehow, or just taken. I don't know exactly how it happened, but look at this, guys. This is a piece of history right here. A real piece of history. It looks like a fighter jet. This right here is called a machine gun turret. So infantry would use this and move it into position close to enemy borders, and a soldier would sit inside and start shooting from these two guns that are coming out. And I'm guessing the glass was bulletproof to protect the soldier. But this looks pretty cool. They no longer use things like this, but this was an early invention and the start of war. The museum showcases unique artifacts such as this missile right here. They will load it up on a plane and drop it off at specific locations. Right now they have it dissected so we can see, but it looks pretty cool and it's humongous. Look at the size of this thing. Imagine the damage it could create during the war. Guys, you have to see this. I'm heading up this interactive experience where we get to see this fighter plane up and close. And you can see the machine guns right there, and soldiers will be behind that glass, and there'll be a second unit underneath and a pilot above. So this was made for an entire crew, and you can really see it up and close. Let's have a look inside. Look at that. It wasn't the most comfortable thing, but it was what they had at the time. And regardless of the pilot rank, you'll always have a pilot in command of the aircraft. There would be one navigating and another focusing on enemy targets. And we get a first-hand experience This, and here is the back. You can see the seating. So you would have a pilot sitting there at the radio station communicating with others, and he would also have a little window above to view the direction and where they're heading. This looks pretty cool. Let's have a closer look at one of the planes. We get this interactive experience where you can get in, sit down, and get a feel of how it was for a pilot to fly over the world. Look at this. You have all the controls here. And some sky roofs where you can see the enemy from above. It looks pretty cool. I guess kids get to enjoy this, but I just had to show you guys so you can see how it is. These look like cargo planes for the military that would carry passengers, stock, or military personnel. Well, in terms of passengers, it can be civilians, but it depends on the situation. They would go on rescue missions. And this was the squadron from 1942 to 2017.